Okay. Welcome back to Metal Heroes Review, episode number 2. This I'm discussing episodes 9 through 14. Now, basically, with episode 12, that ends the original concept of the monsters of the series. Because 13 begins a concept that pretty much continues with the rest of the series. Yep, now the episodes 9 through 12 are simply put standalone episodes. Yeah. In the case of episode number 9, per se, this one is basically that we start off with a monster. We have a security guard just doing patrol. All of a sudden, he goes to like a basically a information vault and comes across a monster stealing documents. And then, just by sheer coincidence, you see Space Sheriff Gavan just happen to be outside, riding his mattress motorcycle. It looks like a giant mattress, and he fights him briefly. And he mentions, "Oh yeah, this document something happened 7 years later in the series about a scientist who created this virus known as the Beno XO, which apparently can be used to destroy an entire planet." And apparently, even though he created this damn thing, he regrets it. So basically, he buried it and lives basically a new life as basically a science teacher. So first, basically, the Moroku find him first, and then Gavan finds him, and of course, thanks to some cooperation, he eventually, of course, Monster at one point even possesses his daughter's doll. Yep. To create this virus, because apparently the Moroku want to use it to destroy planets. Yeah. Though, of course, Gavan steps in, the virus is destroyed, and, well, despite what happened, of course, you also have it where the doll that was seen in the episode gets destroyed, and, of course, he gets new in the very end. Of course, she basically thinks it was Gavan who basically bought it from. Gavan says, like, thinking, I didn't buy that for her. Nope, it was actually her father who bought a replacement doll. How nice of him. Yep, that was episode 10 for you. In the case of episode 10, this is also something similar that happens in Super Sentai as well, where you have basically brainwashing athletes to basically become members of the organization. And like, yeah, this is something I see from early Showa era Sentai stuff. Yeah, that's simply what this is. And like, what type of athletes it could have? Like, I think it was like a soccer player, a pitcher, someone who was kendo, like various different athletic sports, well, Japanese ones mostly. You don't see football or basketball involved with this because those are not big in Japan. Baseball is, and so is soccer, but football is not that big in Japan. I mean, yeah, the kids rather play soccer or baseball over there than playing football. Football is basically an American sport, mostly. Yep. But this is definitely a very interesting concept with the athletes thing, but it is resolved by the very end of it. The next one involves basically a very good plot point in this one. Oh, yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this episode was the first appearance of Gavan's adopted sister. Yep. Yeah. And there's also, we see Gavan's father first name is noted by his adopted sister that he looks exactly like Voicer. Voicer is Gavan's father, who's from the planet Bird. And we see Gavan's father's spaceship. I gotta admit, this actually, basically in the case of episode 11, this was a really good the best way to describe episode 11, it's basically an episode where Gavan gets a lot of character development, which makes total sense. Despite the fact he still doesn't go after 100 kill yet, but still a very good episode. You also get a chance to see his father's jacket, which looks similar to his, and a basically a locket, which is similar to the one he had when he was younger. Had a picture of his father, which according to Hunter Killer, apparently his father's being held by the Moroku. He's not seen a little bit later, if I read. So we'll see him at some point. 12 is a standalone episode involving a kid basically witnessing Moroku fighters just landing and preparing like an invade. I think the whole thing with this one was that the Moroku's plan for this one was simply just to try to sink Japan. Yes, seriously, that was their plan. And of course, Gavan stops them in the very end, and that's it with that one. 13 introduces a new concept, which is basically having. First, we have this devil monster, this devil man, where he's in prison. He apparently had disobeyed Don Hor, so he's in prison for life. So then he's released and given two options. One, you can return to that imprisonment, or two, you can kill Gavan. And he just beats up the goons like, sure, I'll beat him up, no problem. He fights him, he comes back, and of course, the coward. Oh, by the way, when he comes back, he comes on, his bandage on his head is a piece of aluminum foil. Yes, seriously, for some reason, put this on his damn head. So, he's like, of course, thinking, he's like, wait, I have a better idea. How about you give me the power of a monster? And Don Hor thinks, like, combining a devil monster with the power of a monster? A devil man with a monster? Ingenious. Let's do it. So, just by sheer coincidence, apparently we have a scientist who's developing the show's version of a transporter. Yes, seriously. That's seriously what this thing is a freaking transporter. Yes, and then he's kidnapped and then basically forced to make a giant, bigger version instead of using to transport stuff, just basically merge two things into one. He's against it first and then eventually gives in and basically makes the damn thing. Appearance-wise, it looks very similar to the stuff we see from Sun Vulcan. I don't know if they actually basically brought this over from the Sun Vulcan set. Possibly, yes. It could have been, but the thing is, Sun Vulcan was probably coming out around the same time as this. Let me think. Actually, no, I think it came out afterwards because I think, if I remember correctly, Battlefield Virginia came out in 1979. Then it was 1981. So yeah, this is basically just after. My guess is what probably happen with this one, how they get their hands, and this is very similar to teleportation, which was, like I said, looks very similar to the one they use in Sun Vulcan. My guess is they must have got this when Sun Vulcan being wrapped up, or they probably borrowed it from there. Or they basically took the same design. Possibly, yes, but not really detailed here. But also, the actor was not in Sun Vulcan. Yep, so they combine the monster successfully, and the monster actually survives, and the creature survives this episode, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, it's very interesting the fact he survives, and he lives in the very next episode. So basically, after he sort of Gavan suffers a defeat, couldn't beat him, but he's not killed. So, under any of our fiction series, we have it where the boss recalls the person and basically says, nope, we're not going to do anything else with you, or at least something like that. Commander Glenn's response is to have himself come to Earth to train Gavan personally to beat the guy. And he finds a weakness being like the right side of his chest, and we have very much time we actually able to beat him. And this is like having also prior to the battle, he also has it where he sort of has asked me for a favor. Can I borrow some money? So he takes a jewel and just spends money for the kids. Quite nice of him. Basically, good potentially kill him. No, he survives, no problem. Also in the episode, we have this where prior to this point, we have it where basically where the monster is already merged. Apparently, for some reason, his favorite food is cow. Like, is that cow? And he goes across the river, and it's basically Gavan's sister feeding dogs milk. And then apparently he comes across cows later on, Oh, by the way, he dresses like he's from the 19th century for some strange reason. I have no idea why, with the twirling mustache and the cape. I mean, who the heck do you think he is? Like, Jack the Ripper the way he's freaking dressed? You're like, cows. And apparently off screen, he proceeds to eat 3 cows whole, like, and leave the bones behind. And then we have Gavan's boss saying, hey, Rishu, go investigate the 3 dead cows. Possibly a bear or a stray dog. And Gavin's like, the stray dog is utterly ridiculous. A bear? That would be interesting, except there's no bears in the area. So, yeah, he figures out that was just some Moroku stuff. This actually is probably the first of the series he actually is told to do something by his boss. And he's not basically being yelled at for it. Yep. And, well, aside from the fact he already finds out the fact it was basically a Moroku monster, aka the devil monster. But yeah, really good here. I'm still enjoying this series. I love the writing. The fact this is basically different from other series I come across like this. Also, normal under a series like this where you have it where somebody basically fails that mission and the commander doesn't think he's ready for this, so he basically tries to take away his stuff, but then he has to fight him in order to get back his position. That's what no one had in our series, but not Space Sure Gavin. Nope, he just trains them. Yes, it's like Gab is basically written to be different from other series for standard tropes like this. Also, when he comes to planet Bird to Earth, he arrives there no problem. Guess what normally happened in another series and like this happened? The ship would be attacked by the bad guys. Here, nope. It would arrive, no problem. And go back to planet Bird, no problem. Yes, that is interesting. Who would have thunk basically that's what I like that? Yeah. So yeah, still enjoying the series overall. With 14 episodes in, like I'm doing right now, I'm only going to do 8 more and then I'll take a break. But overall for the whole series, only about 30 episodes left to go for this whole series. Yep. So yeah. Excuse me, that's it particular video. Next up is 3 straight comic corners. And after that will be The Great Jot Will Not Be Defeated. Okay, next video. Bye.